All right, everyone, why don't we get started? Welcome again. My name is Tony Verona, and I have the honor of being the Dean at the University of Miami School of Law. This is part 2 of our 4-part mindfulness workshop series during COVID-19 for the legal community, led by my colleague, Scott Rogers, the director of our mindfulness in law program. And so Scott will take it away in just a moment. I just want to remind everybody that at the end of the session, Scott will be able to take 1 or 2 questions. So if you have those, please put them in the Q&A box down below. I will monitor that box and then come back at the end of the session to share 1 or 2 of the questions with Scott. Enjoy the session, everybody. Scott, take it away.
Thank you, Dean Verona, and welcome everyone. It's good to be together. We're looking forward to continuing our exploration of mindfulness and well-being at such a challenging time. And it might be nice and useful to pick up where we left off with a short mindfulness practice, perhaps 2 minutes, which can be helpful for stabilizing a scattered attention, feeling a little bit more relaxed and calm, even if a little bit. And so let us bring ourselves into a posture that is upright and stable. As we lower or close our eyes, whichever you prefer, and rest attention on the sensations of this body, this precious body, in this moment, as we breathe. Taking 3 slower, deeper breaths, which can be helpful to bring about a slightly more relaxed state. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. A little fuller, a little deeper, the exhalation. Breathing in and out. And now allowing the breath to resume its natural pacing and rhythm, whatever that may be in this moment, as we rest our attention on the sensations of the breath flowing through the body. There's nothing to do but be here and observe. And in those moments when the mind wanders and you realize the mind has wandered, to gently escort attention back to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Aware. Aware of this body moving with the breath. Aware of the sensations of the breath flowing through the body. And when you're ready, in the next moment or two, lifting the gaze, opening the eyes. In a few moments, we will move on to today's practice known as loving kindness. Loving kindness, also known as metta, is a practice that in some ways may seem very different from the focused attention practice that we learned last week and we just practiced together. And it is. At the same time, it too calls upon us to concentrate our attention, and many of its benefits flow from this aspect of the practice. So we thought it would be helpful to look at an illustration for a few moments, one that will be made available to you after the webinar, to connect the dots a little bit between the importance of concentrated attention and the ways that distracted mind and mind wandering can adversely affect our cognitive and emotional well-being. So, you see before you what has been referred to, what I've called the landscape of the mind. Also, the attractive nuisance, which I'll touch on in a moment. And so, let us notice that running through this landscape of the mind is the freeway of flow, where we are balanced and joyful, creative, kind. There's clarity and connection and courage. And we know these moments, we all do. Notice that the vehicle that we're in has headlights that is a reminder of attention, and the way we choose to direct our attention can keep us on this path. But along the way, we see the complexity and beauty and challenge of living a life, this human life. And so we will detour, we will take turns moving away from the freeway of flow. This is inevitable. And so let's notice some of the places that we go. For example, as we are just going over the beginning of that little hump, that little bridge, there we have a caution sign, Rumination Road. And if we're not careful, we then find ourselves in the river of regret. And so when the mind begins ruminating, that's the distracted mind. That's mind wandering. If we don't realize it, before we know it, literally before we know it, we are lost in the river of regret. And we all know those moments. We move on a little bit further. We also see that there's that reminder, that caution, and if we're not careful, but inevitably we can't help ourselves, we will land in the valley of fear. And we can look at the uncertainty and the blame and accidents and failure and illness, being scared. We all know the valley of fear, just as we know the river of regret. Up toward the top, we have the roller coaster of emotion. This is life, the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. It is part of life. And if we move ourselves to the bottom, we have the dungeon of doubt. And we all know doubt. Not being good enough, worried about what will happen and whether or not we're up for it. And so this is shared with you to get a sense that if we are able to catch ourselves, to notice when we are wandering away from the freeway of flow, which we already have within us, that capacity. We don't have to acquire it. It's already here. We can, with awareness, bring ourselves back. But even that is easier said than done, which is why the mindfulness practice of sitting and noticing the mind and when it wanders, to realize and to bring ourselves back is a practice worth doing on a regular basis. And so I'm going to close this, but it's also helpful to perhaps put a nice reminder on the end of our focused attention exploration that what we don't see here is a sign that says stop. And stop is a nice acronym for a short practice that we can do anytime. The S stands for stop or sit. It's a pause. The T for take a breath. And we can now more deliberately take this next breath, aware of the breath. And then to observe what's arising around us or within us, and the mindfulness practice has us moving inward. And then to proceed. And so let us proceed with our exploration of mindfulness and loving kindness. Now today we'll be learning a practice that is rooted in considerations that have always been relevant to members of the legal profession, given our wide-ranging relationships that we have with others. Whether it's clients that we wish to help and serve, whether it's colleagues that we are, and partners that we are collaborating with and sometimes competitive with, whether it's the person behind the scenes that we never really notice as much as we might, but they're there and they're contributing. Or opposing counsel. And here we find, the stress and the difficulties above and beyond what's inherent in the adversarial landscape that we've chosen to inhabit as our life's work. And today we have friends and family members and colleagues who are struggling, who are suffering. They are struggling with their physical health and concerns. They are struggling with their emotional well-being. And given our constrained living environments and the uncertainty of it all, and the stress and anxiety and despair that so many are feeling, we're all a little bit more prone to and to having challenging interactions, even with those we most care about. This is an interesting time when adversaries can become allies in ways, and sadly, allies can become adversaries. Much of this is due to the way we're relating to our experience, the way we're perceiving it, and to misunderstanding each other. The loving kindness practice is one that can be helpful for navigating these waters so that we can emerge a more open-hearted, resilient, and compassionate person for ourselves as well as others. And as you'll see when we get into the practice, a primary instruction involves wishing happiness and health and safety for others. And there's some interesting research that many might find surprising, how this practice can be helpful for improving positive emotions, empathy, compassion, enriching the volume of gray matter, of decreasing bias towards others, of decreasing or attenuating the symptoms of migraines and chronic pain. Research even finds, as is the case with many other mindfulness practices, the possible slowing down of biological aging. Now, there are two things that are worth noting at this stage when we're talking about open-hearted and compassionate qualities cultivated through practice. The first is that this is not about becoming soft. In the practice of law, this is sometimes raised as a concern, as it is in the military environment and others in which we do research and share these practices. Rilke, the poet, said something that I think is useful, and I learned this listening to Ram Dass, a wonderful teacher to so many. Rilke said, "Treat a person as you must, but always hold them in your heart." Treat a person as you must, but always hold them in your heart. And here we see the delicate interplay of compassion and wisdom, which is fundamental to mindfulness practice and fundamental to what it is to be a human being. The trick is finding the right balance, because often we feel if we're too kind, we'll be soft, and if we're not kind enough, we'll be overly harsh. The second thing to consider is that unlike many other mindfulness practices, like the focused attention practice, which is very much oriented towards seeing things more clearly and being present for the moment as it is and being aware of what we're feeling as opposed to trying to feel a certain way, the loving kindness practice is oriented towards cultivating qualities of the heart, of feeling differently, and in many ways changing aspects of who we are through that practice. Through the practice that we'll be learning, and we'll be doing it very shortly, because that's what this is all about, we will be developing qualities and capacities that are in the service of our emotional intelligence, for enriching the quality of our decision-making process. Some of you may be aware of the acronym VUCA: volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. We're living very much in a VUCA world. We always have been, but it's become a little bit more salient and palpable. Formal, mindful, formal loving kindness practice can help us be more effective in these VUCA moments with ourselves and with others. And neuroscientists like Richie Davidson out of the University of Wisconsin at Madison reminds us that these are trainable skills. He likens it to practicing scales on a musical instrument. And the more we practice, the more spontaneous and natural these affirming qualities are felt and expressed. So, with that, let's practice. Find yourself in a good posture. Comfortable. And so we bring ourselves into this posture that is upright and stable, steady. You may be laying down, that's fine. You may be standing, that's fine. As we discussed last week, it's not the form that the body takes, it's the quality of mind that we bring, the quality of heart. As we lower or close our eyes, resting our attention on the sensations of this body, aware of where our bottom meets the cushion or the seat beneath us, of where our back may meet the back of a chair behind us, aware of our hands resting one in the other or on our lap or by our side, the sensations arising in and around our hands and fingers, just by turning our attention, inclining the mind in this direction. Aware of the sensations of our feet making contact with the ground or our shoes or socks as we breathe. And taking a few slower, deeper breaths, breathing in and breathing out. In and out. In and out. And now allowing a sense of the body to recede into the background of awareness, we bring to mind a sense of ourselves at this time in our life. You might visualize yourself, you might feel yourself from the inside, in whatever way that you call to mind yourself. Wish for yourself. May I be safe. May I be happy, free from worry. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart and peace of mind. And then allowing a sense of ourself to recede into the background of awareness as we bring to mind someone who's been very good to us, a benefactor, a champion, a beloved pet. They may be alive, they may have passed on, and as we bring to mind and bring to heart a sense of this being, we wish for them in whatever way makes sense. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be with ease of heart, peace of mind as we breathe. And as a sense of this being recedes into the background, we bring to mind someone for whom things are very difficult. We know they're struggling. We care. We feel. And as we bring a sense of them to mind, an image, perhaps we hear their voice, we sense their struggle, we wish for them. We feel this wish for them. May you be safe. May you be happy, free from worry, concern. May you be healthy, strong. May you live with ease of heart and peace of mind. As we feel the breath flow through our body. And as a sense of this person recedes, we bring to mind someone for whom our relationship is rather neutral. Maybe you saw them earlier today in passing. We don't have much regard for them because we don't really have much of a connection with them. And as you bring to mind this person that maybe you've seen over the years but never really talked to, or if you're looking out a window, you see somebody walking across the street. We wish for this person, this neutral person, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease of heart, peace of mind. As we breathe, and now we bring to mind someone with whom things are challenging. The interactions aren't as smooth as we'd like them to be or they could be. This might be someone with whom these challenging encounters have been going on for a long time, or it might be something that's popped up more recently. Be good to yourself in whom you choose. It need not be the most difficult person in your life. And as you bring to mind this person with whom things are challenging, in whatever way you're able to, wish for them. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease of heart and peace of mind. And as a sense of this person recedes into the background, we cultivate, we bring to mind, we sense all beings, all creatures everywhere in this world, struggling, finding moments of joy, grateful, lost in despair, just like us. And with a sense of all beings held in mind and in heart, including ourselves, all of us in this, the town we're in, the city, the state, the country, the hemisphere, the world. Wishing may all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be strong, happy. May all beings everywhere live with ease of heart and peace of mind. Aware of this body, moving with this breath. This body, this breath, they are arising in this moment And as we direct and rest our attention on the sensations of the breath and of the body through which the breath flows, we become more fully present for this moment and for the moments of our lives, all of our lives. And when you're ready in the next moment or two, with an awareness of doing so, lifting the gaze, opening the eyes.
Scott, what a beautiful practice. Thank you for that. We have a question from Mahalakshmi. Hi, thanks so much for this wonderful 4-part mindfulness series. How can we use mindfulness to stay motivated to complete everyday tasks and to achieve our goals?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. And that certainly is something that many of us are grappling with, to stay motivated, to stay energized. So first is to notice the ways that we are depleting our energy. And part of that has to do with when we are on task and we wish to remain on task, when something pulls our attention away, a text, a news piece, whatever it may be, that's that wandering off the freeway of flow. And part of the mindfulness practice and the practicing of mindfulness is so that we can be more skillful at noticing when we wander away. Our thoughts are telltale signs. The agitated feelings that we will experience and sensations in the body, these are the telltale signs of wandering away from the task at hand. And we often miss them. And then they exacerbate the challenging aspects of that moment because we become agitated. And so one is to be more aware of the things that are depleting us of our energy and attention. And when we are a little bit steadier and a little bit more focused, without having to take in energy, we are reserving more of it. And then through this practice, the loving kindness practice, when we can, even in small doses, when we find ourselves feeling agitated or stressed and off task, shift the focus to wishing happiness or health for ourselves or somewhere else. We move into a more a state of greater thriving.
Thank you, Scott. Another question. How do you reconcile the practice of wishing happiness, safety, health, ease of heart, and peace of mind with the state of the chaotic world we are living in without being consumed by the fact that there is so much to the contrary?
Right. Well, there is a great deal of suffering. There's no doubt about that. And we all have our own capacity to be as healthy as we can be and as safe as we can be. And as you did a nice job tracking those, and as happy as we can be. And these are all tenuous states and they fluctuate. It's the roller coaster of emotion. Part of this practice is for us to see if we can cultivate those qualities for ourselves and others and enliven us through doing so, because so often we're spending our time unaware in less than constructive states, worrying about and lost in the very despair that that question so importantly points to and the ways we can ameliorate it. So there is that paradox, you could say, there is that tension. And this is a practice that says, can I fill myself up with more of the qualities that can be useful to myself and others? And we will notice the tug in other directions. And that is part of the mindfulness practice. It's a wonderful question.
Thank you, Scott. Well, thank you everyone for joining us at the second of 4 workshops. We look forward to your joining us next week. Have a wonderful week full of peace, and we wish you very well.